We shall begin. Alright, hello and welcome to our Avengers discussion. I'm David Leonard.
Oh, I'm William Abbott.
And I'm John Leonard.
And today we've got a little bit of discussion. By the way, it's going to include spoilers. So, spoiler alert, we will spoil parts of the film. So if you haven't seen it yet, you might not want to see this first.
And also, this goes for you and for you. Nobody is allowed to talk unless they have the Thor hammer.
Okay. Alright. Okay, the beginning is, we're going to talk about, did you see it in 3D and IMAX? Or
No.
Okay, so we saw it in 3D IMAX, and we had to go in, like, 5 minutes before the film started, and all the seats were filled. So we sat, like, right in the middle front, so we were, like, staring a little bit up, but the entire thing was just
When
our
I
entire
saw
field of view.
When I saw it, I went there to see the 3:30 showing. I did not get to see the movie until 4:50 because the 3:30 and the next, like, 3 showings were all sold out when I got there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to wait around for like an hour and a half for the movie. So yeah, I didn't get to pick whether I wanted IMAX 3D or not. I just had to deal with what they had open.
Well, John lied to our manager because he said at 1 o'clock we have to leave at 1 because we have an appointment.
I didn't lie. I didn't lie. I mean, it was something that was at a certain time. I just wasn't very specific with what it was. And we wanted to.
So by the time we left, I was like, "What's so important? What's so important, John?" He said, "We have to get to the theater at 1:15 in order to see the Avengers in 3D IMAX."
Wow.
I have no rebuttal.
So, anyways, from my perspective on the 3D, I've got Captain America in 3D on Blu-ray, and so it didn't seem like, I don't know, I didn't do the research on whether they filmed this in 3D or not. I don't think they did because it looked like cardboard cutouts in front of cardboard cutouts.
Like I said, I didn't see this movie in 3D. I did see Captain America, and I did see Thor in 3D last year. And I thought the same thing about Thor. Thor had these beautifully rendered, CGI landscapes and stuff for Asgard and things like that. But then when you watch it in 3D, it looks like people standing in front of a freaking backdrop. Like, all the money that they put into making these beautiful backgrounds for the green screen work is just all wasted when you put it in 3D. I, for one, think 3D is a waste.
And from what I could tell of it in terms of the perspective, as long as the camera stayed still, the 3D looked fine. But when they did a quick pan and scan or some kind of quick action, it just made it so blurry you couldn't even tell what was going on. So it kind of ruined a bit of the action for me.
Do you have anything to say?
For the most part, I thought the 3D was okay. I mean, it didn't really add much to it. Since we were sitting up so front, it was probably a different experience for us than everybody else in the theater. But just like the slight turning of my head, I could see the double image. And true, with a lot of the big time motion, there was double imaging with that too.
So if you haven't seen the movie yet, save your money and go to the 2D version. It's already going to cost you, an arm and a leg, even if you go to the matinee. So don't waste your money on 3D because 3D sucks.
Okay, the next topic is going to be on the plot itself. I liked the second half. The first half just kind of bothered me because there are all these kind of foreshadowing events in terms of, like, the biggest example I've been getting to everybody to not spoil the film, that the Hulk, Bruce Banner, when he comes onto the big ship that Nick Fury and everybody has, he says, "Well, I don't know if I should be on here. If I go Hulk, this whole place is going to go down because I'll rampage." And what do you know? He goes Hulk, he rampages, and it causes nothing but problems.
Okay, first of all, the giant ship that Nick Fury and all them guys have is called the Shield Helicarrier.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. And that was another problem I had. Did anyone actually call Hawkeye to his face?
No, they called him Barton.
Barton, exactly. It's like, I didn't even know he was Hawkeye until I read the review. I was like, oh, that's his name? I thought he... Because, Tony Stark jokingly called him Legolas, which,
Should also point out to all the viewers that David and I are not actually comic book geeks, but he is. So,
as you can tell, I'm the only one wearing a comic book shirt. Well, he's wearing the Flash, but I'm the only one wearing the shirt that actually goes with the movie.
Well, we don't have those shirts. I mean, the other problem is like how they at least figured out how Loki got himself. It seems like intentionally captured. Like the comment that Nick Fury made to Thor is like, the only person who wants to be here is Loki. It seems so convenient, so obvious that he's going to cause problems because he's there on purpose.
Very well said.
Were we still talking about the main
plot problems. We're talking plot problems, yeah.
Okay. Plot problems. I was mostly fine with the plot.
The biggest problem that I had with the movie is that at least the first half was really, really boring. I mean, nothing happened for like the first hour. And I understand that it's an origin movie and that it's, you know, the first chapter of what's probably going to be a 3-chapter saga or whatever, but it was my intention that Marvel went through all of the trouble of doing Iron Man and then Thor and then Captain America and then the Incredible Hulk solo so that they could kind of ditch all that boring stuff and get right into, you know, the meat in the Avengers, and you still had to sit through an hour of just crap. I mean, it was really well told. It was a really good story, but the first hour you're just sitting there going, "Come on. When am I gonna?" I mean, I think it takes an hour before anybody's even in costume.
Yeah. And the other issue I had was that everyone, you know, they submitted to each other the idea that they knew that Loki was trying to get them to go against each other. And all the while they're trying to say, when they're having that conversation, Loki's trying to get us to go against each other. They're going against each other. You know, you got Captain America and the Iron Man going, "Oh, toe-to-toe, get in your suit, I'm going to beat you up," or whatever. It's like, no, you're supposed to be working together, and then they all get their butts kicked. The whole ship's nearly going to go down. And it's only until they finally get back together again to figure out, oh yeah, Loki's our bad guy.
I will say, though, when Iron Man and Captain America and Thor are all three on the ground in the forest fighting, and Thor hits Captain America's shield with the hammer, and there's a big explosion, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But I will also say that one of the other disappointments I had with the movie was that it didn't really develop Captain America at all. And Captain America was really the more interesting story because, you know, we're starting all over for scratch with him, basically, because he's been frozen in ice for 70 years. And they had all that, you know, all that good man at a time stuff, fish out of water stuff that they didn't even touch on. They like barely gave it an honorable mention in the gym with the punching bags, and that was it.
And the $10 joke.
Yeah, they all said $10. Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yes.
Well, the other jokes were like he said like flying monkeys. I got that reference.
Yeah,
flying monkeys. Yeah.
Right. And Thor's just like, what?
And I hate Thor's absolute trusting of Loki. He knows from Thor that Loki is a bad guy. No matter what he does, he can't get him to do right. And he's always like, he is my brother. He killed 80 people. He is adopted.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really all I have on disappointing stuff. I thought the Avengers was great. I did not think it was worthy of the hype that it got. You know, everybody's saying, this is the greatest comic book movie ever made. It's the purest comic book translation, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not.
Nah.
It's not any more legitimate than any other comic book movie ever made. It's very good. It was very well done. But it's not, everybody seems to be making it out to be more legitimate than your average comic book movie, and it's not. So if you go expecting, you know, Shakespeare with capes, you're going to be extremely disappointed.
Well, Thor, Iron Man did say when he was fighting Thor, what is it, Shakespeare? You know,
Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So the joke was made. But yeah, many of these issues I think that we brought up, I think is, like with why they have the Hulk on there. The Hulk knows he's going to go Hulk, and then he Hulks out. There's a lot of Hulk there. But these kind of things, they had to happen. It's a typical storytelling method of, okay, your heroes all have to fight against each other. They all have to, have a common problem and then have a common enemy. And then at the end of it, that's when they finally collaborate and everything works out.